What's up, guys? I wanted to talk a little bit today about how I've started to get up between 4 and 5 every morning in the last year or so. Now, I get some really funny looks from family, friends, clients. They think I've lost the plot. And this isn't one of those let's hustle harder, bro kind of videos. But for me, it's the thing that keeps me grounded and just moving towards the goals I have in my own life. I get enough sleep. I just choose to have my time for me, for dad, before the day starts for everyone else, rather than at the end of the day, after we've put my son to bed, we finish work and we're tired and we kind of just want to hang out and have some time together. So if you're a busy dad or a busy dude and you're looking for a bit of YouTube fitness content that's a little bit more chilled with a little bit of lifestyle stuff thrown in, then I'm sure you'll find a lot of the content on here pretty relatable. So you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button and it will mean a hell of a lot to me because I'm only just getting started with this channel. And it's basically like a virtual fist bump between dads, right? So look, go and grab a coffee, put your earphones in, and we'll just get stuck in and have a little chat. So for me, I've been getting up between 4 and 5 a.m. ever since our son Brody was born. He's almost 2 now. And if you've got kids that are older or maybe a bit of a similar age to us, I bet you can remember those early days. The days where you're just getting constantly woken up through the night. And the days where you're just like, do you know what? I'm getting up, screw it. It's 2 a.m. He's not going back to sleep. Neither am I. Let's get going. And you end up wandering around the house trying to calm down a screaming baby, hoping that the neighbours can't hear, and just wondering if life will always be like this. But trust me, it won't be. For our son, he's almost 2 now. I think we had 10 or 11 months of him just not sleeping very well at all, which of course you know what that means. We're sleep deprived too. So I feel like for us, that period of time, we were literally just trying to focus on surviving and just making sure that everything was taken care of, rather than trying to thrive with anything in particular. Now, look, I don't want to go into too much detail with this because everyone's kid's different, but what I will say is that it's all good now. And from about the 10, 11 month mark, he's been sleeping through the night perfectly. However, he still gets up very, very early. And I'm thinking, mate, why don't you just enjoy a lay-in? You're going to regret this when you're older and you're my age and you've got work to do or a business to run. You're going to look back and think, oh, could have slept in a bit then, couldn't I? However, for us, that means that we kind of have to get up early. We've done it before where we may have laid in a little bit later, and I say later, like 6 a.m. kind of laying, but it's never nice when you just have to wake up to him screaming his head off, and you just start the day feeling stressed, anxious, and on the back foot. So we just made the decision to get up earlier. So that way we've got some time in the morning when we're fresh to do something for ourselves. My wife is also into fitness, so she'll sometimes train in the morning too, or at lunchtime if she's lucky enough to have a break from work. But for me, training first thing and getting up at that time, it just sets me up for the day. That training session early in the morning, it just acts as a bit of an anchor point for my day. And it's also meant that my training has been able to be more consistent than ever. I'm only really missing sessions if I'm away on holiday, on a trip, or if I'm ill, and like I'm talking really ill. I sometimes think it comes down to the fact that you haven't been awake for very long, so you haven't necessarily had enough time to make excuses or to not feel motivated to go and do it. And by the time you get caffeinated, you get hydrated, and you actually wake up, you're already in the gym warming up, or even starting your session. And it also means for me that there's just no pressure to fit this in later in the day. I'm lucky enough to be able to run my business from home, but that doesn't mean I get to swan off in the middle of the day for a training session. I find it really hard to switch off, and if you're self-employed or you're a bit of a solopreneur like me, I imagine you're in the same boat where you want to do well with your business, but you're also trying to have a little bit of balance. So for me, I don't want to be scrambling around to find time during the day when I could be working, especially if I'm in a good flow with things and I'm getting a lot of tasks done. And don't get me wrong, I have done this at times. I just feel like during that training session, I'm thinking about all of the things I need to do the rest of the day. And if I'm training after work, I'm tired and I don't want to miss out on family time. So I guess what I'm saying here, guys, is that it just works for me. It won't work for everyone though, because we're all different. Now, I'll be honest, years ago, I used to say that I'm not a morning person. And trust me, I wasn't. My life and I guess my identity, now that I'm 32, are very, very different from when I was in my early 20s. Late nights, going out drinking and partying, just doing what you do when you're that age, I guess. But for me, since I started to, I guess, grow up and just have different priorities in life, I still got up early, but just not as early as I currently do. But like with anything, there's definitely an adjustment period. A lot of people will post this kind of hustling content online. And I kind of get that a lot of it's for engagement and to kind of motivate people to buy whatever they're selling. And if it works for them, it works for them, right? Who am I to judge? I always question if they're actually doing that every day themselves though. But in order to adapt to it, here's a few things that I've done. So firstly, my bedtime is a big one. We cannot be skimping on sleep as parents. We're already under lots of pressure, and not sleeping enough is a silent killer. So I just make sure that I'm getting enough sleep each night, which for us means that we're getting into bed around 8:45. maybe reading for a little bit, and then usually going to sleep at around 9 to 9:30. And to be honest, by that point, my head is usually bobbing like the Churchill dog. And that's why my wake time is a bit of a buffer between 4 and 5, because some nights you might stay up a little bit later, if you know what I mean. Now at the moment, it's still dark out, it's cold, it's just a bit miserable. It's mid-Feb, it's to be expected. So while I'm in a routine with it, you might not be. So what you could look at doing, and this is something that really helped me initially, it was just putting my phone the other side of the room, putting my alarm on, so that when the alarm went off, I actually had to get out of bed. So I didn't wake everyone up with this bloody alarm. I'd make sure my gym clothes were laid out the night before, so that I just didn't need to fumble around in the dark. Then I'd head down, hydrate, and have a coffee to help me wake up. We got a decent coffee machine about 4 years ago, and honestly, I still look forward to having a homemade coffee every morning. So knowing that I can sit and enjoy that in peace, it certainly helps to get me out of bed too. But look, waking up this early isn't going to fix your life. It's not magic or anything like that. I know a lot of people will say that online, but I just think it helps you to be a little bit more productive with your day, because oftentimes it's quieter out, there's less people around, and the rest of your family might still be asleep. And of course, if your kids like ours, they get up pretty early too. So you want to make sure that you beat them. All we've done is just move our day around to suit. And when you realise that's all it is, it really isn't so hard, and it's actually not that flashy. Believe me, I'm just a normal dude trying to do good in life. And for me, I just find that this works, and it helps me to stay consistent with my goals. So if you're trying to get back into a routine, or you just need a little bit of time for you in the day, I guess you could try getting up a little bit earlier. Just make sure you don't miss out on too much sleep. And guys, I'm always up for a bit of a chat in the comments, so maybe drop one below and let me know what you guys have experimented with and what's maybe worked for you. And this wouldn't be YouTube if I didn't ask you to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Take care guys, and I really appreciate you watching this.